Good morning, y'all. It's Taylor with y'all 106.7, and today I'm joined by singer-songwriter Max T. Barnes. Welcome to y'all 106.7.
Taylor, what the heck are you doing this morning?
I'm drinking a cup of coffee, as are you, because we discovered we're not morning people, me and you.
We're not. No, we should push this till next week.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you to be here, and we do have pressing topics to talk about. I do want to talk about VernFest, but before we get into that, I want to talk about you for just a second.
Oh, no.
Need to give you a proper intro because you're really pretty cool. So if I am understanding this correctly, you wrote your first smash hit at 19.
Yes, ma'am.
For Vern, and then you've been topping the charts ever since. Let Go of the Stone, John Anderson, which is one of my personal favorites. That's got me through a lot of breakups in my life. Before You Kill Us, Randy Travis, How Your Love Makes Me Feel, Diamond Rio, and many, many more. So, round of applause for Max, everybody. Thank you for being here.
That was the golf collab.
Yeah, that wasn't good enough. We need another win.
Nice little putt.
But I need to know, how you got into this business. Obviously, your dad, it's in your blood. You're a natural-born creator. But at what point did you say, I'm going to pursue this?
Well, sure, Taylor. My dad, Max D. Barnes, he moved us down, my mom and I, from Omaha in 1973, and I was 10 years old. And he, just like so many others, wanted to be a country music star. So he wanted to be a singer, but he got into songwriting because he was good at carpentry and he could build stuff. And they said, we'll sign you as a songwriter as long as you build something. So he brought that Midwestern work ethic, and he did really well. He's in the Hall of Fame. He sold 50 million records, and golly, he had like 500 recordings, and it's really neat. So I learned everything I know from my dear old dad, Max D. Barnes.
That is really cool. Did he teach you how to play an instrument, or did you kind of pick that up on your own?
A little bit. All the stuff, like people ask me, like, did your dad teach you how to write? Well, yes, he did, but not by showing me. It's like just by being around and
observing.
Kind of like anything you're around. Like if you're, Patrick Mahomes' dad was a baseball player, so he'd learn baseball. So I was just kind of in there, meeting all my dad's friends and getting in that way.
I completely understand. My dad worked in radio and entertainment, so I feel like we kind of just grow up to do.
Right. It's in your blood, so to speak.
Yeah. So you scored a CMA nomination for your song by Colin Ray, Love Me.
Yes.
And I just interviewed Colin last week.
Isn't he
awesome.
A prince?
Yeah, but the funny story is that your dad beat you out for that award. Is that correct?
Old Dad, yes, ma'am. Well, we were up against each other for CMA Song of the Year, and of all the years that I could have been nominated to go up against my dad, and my poor mom didn't know what to do. So who does she root for, right? But she said, "Oh, Max, you'll win one later." So my dad, and he just won a couple years before with Chiseld and Stone, which is another great Vern Gosdin song, which is why we're here to talk about VernFest.
Yeah.
Y'all come out and see VernFest, vernfest.com.
Yes, and that's is that an annual event that you do every year?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is happening on August 3rd at 8 p.m. at the Texas Troubadour Theatre.
Yes,
where
ma'am.
You're going to invite family and friends for a special night of stories and songs. And I read that you may laugh and you may cry.
Oh, you're going to laugh.
At the heartstrings?
You're going to cry, yeah. We have a lot of fun. It's family friendly. You can eat. They got really good food there, and you can have a adult beverage and bring your kids if you want to. And we sing real country music. It's a celebration of all Vern Gosdin songs. Chisel and Stone, This Ain't My First Rodeo, Set 'Em Up Joe, all the neat old thing, Tangeray. And it's Vern Gosdin music, and I love country music, and I know a lot of people do. And I love some of the old folks like me complain about country music. But if you don't come out, you can't complain no more. So come on out.
Oh, yeah. It's the best country. That's what we say here,
good old
y'all.
country music.
How did this show come about, and how long have you been doing it?
This is the second annual one. And really I won't be the one to carry this into the future. I hope somebody else does. But I'm trying to keep country music alive and get the annual thing going. So Vern will always be among us in his music.
Well, that's very beautiful that you're continuing on that legacy for him. And events can be purchased, Eventbrite tickets, yep.
Eventbrite.com/VernFest, or go to vernfest.com. And we're sponsored by Jeff Robertson Associates, the working man's lawyer. So if you've been in a car crash, you need to call Jeff Robertson Associates. And he's been a great friend to VernFest these few years, and the songwriter's best friend. He hosts a lot of events. So if you need a good car crash lawyer, it's Jeff Roberts and Associates.
Shout out Jeff Roberts and Associates. We got that. So looking back, what is one of your favorite memories with Vern?
Oh gosh, probably coming home from football practice in the 8th grade, and Vern be sitting there, and his wife was sitting at my kitchen table, and I remember I thought it was my sister, so I came up behind her and grabbed her Coke and started drinking it, and then I saw it was Vern Gosdin's wife. That was weird. So, just growing up around these country music stars like Kenny Rogers or Garth Brooks or Merle Haggard. Is neat meeting him at my dad's kitchen table. Just Sunday night I did a concert with Marty Haggard. He and I are old friends, and my dad and Merle were great friends. So just growing up around it's been a real pleasure.
Carrying on that legacy.
Mm.
And you have a song with Marty Haggard, don't you?
Yes. We redid a song that our dads wrote together called "We're Gonna Move Way Back in the Mountains." Yeah, that's a good one.
That is really cool. And you produce too.
I do. Yes, I produced a few Rodney Atkins and Jeff Carson and some guys in the 80s and 90s when I was with Curb Records. That was a lot of fun. I've done it all. I'm an old horse around the barn.
You're kind of like a jack of all trades. I guess it's all art, it's all music, it's all creativity, but is there one that you love more than the other? The writing, the lyrics, the production?
Well, that's kind of inside baseball, but the thing I think I'm best at is producing vocals for artists. But I still love to write. I don't do it for a living anymore, but I do it for fun, which is if somebody says, hey, I'm cutting a record or I need a single, you want to write something. I still like to do that, but I don't do it every day like I used to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that when inspiration strikes, I'm sure that you go with it. Are you that 11 a.m. write every day, or do you write when you feel it out in nature?
I was when I was doing it for a living.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, and still, I always felt it was like this, like God will poke you at 3 or 4 in the morning and say, hey, I got this great idea. And you go, great, God, good night, tell me in the morning. He goes, no, poke, poke, poke. It's a great idea. And you go, oh, that is a good idea. Yeah. So you get up and write it down. That's just how it seems like it happens with me.
He comes knocking, you just got to answer.
Yeah, you do. And you better write it down because you ain't going to remember it.
Yeah. I love this story. I think it was Porter Howell who told me he used to write his lyrics on the back of a Burger King bag, just driving down the road. So you gotta hit it when it strikes. Of all the songs you've written, is there anyone that holds the most weight to you? I know that's a really hard question, like picking a favorite child, but is there just one that symbolically means a lot to you?
Kind of. Not symbolically, but there's one that my dad and I wrote together about this is weird, it's like my dad's stepfather, but it was way after he moved out of the house, but it was like the only grandpa I knew. And his name, coincidentally, was Max. And we wrote the song. He was a welder, and he was drunk most of the time and had to walk a lot of places, but he was dear to me. And we wrote this song called I've Loved a Lot More Than I've Hurt. And Montgomery Gentry, it was on their first record, sold a few million. And then it was on a Alabama record, sold a few million. So it never was a single, I don't think, but sold millions and millions of records. But it's a neat old song to me.
I bet it is. Some of those songs are just, you can't put a price on them. Doesn't matter who cuts them.
Yeah, so personally, that one means something to me.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. So when you're not writing, when you're hanging out in Hendersonville, is that right where you said you live?
Yes,
I live. Because you're a country boy.
Out in the country.
What do you like to do for fun?
We've got about 40 acres out there, and we've kept horses and chickens and all. Everything you can keep that will, empty your bank account. We was at dinner with some lawyers last night, and the guy said, I've got 40 horses. I said, oh, you need some extra spending money because you're broke.
Yeah.
I mean, horses, the cost of money. But we've had that place out there for years and years, but we enjoy being outside and, riding around on the four-wheelers, that kind of thing.
I have one more reflection question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big question, but what is one of the biggest things that your dad taught you, or best piece of advice that you will keep with you forever?
Oh, I would say that would be to undersell and overdeliver. It's that Midwestern work ethic I think he brought to Nashville, which was so valuable because when art meets commerce, sometimes the art takes over and you can get kind of artsy and I hate to say the word lazy, but you gotta bring the art and you gotta turn it into commerce, and that's what my dad was really good at.
Well, that didn't take you a second to think about it, so that
No,
must
that's
be
right.
on the top of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next for you? You're hitting the road, Australia. Did I read that? What
Goodness,
is
I've
happening?
been to Australia a couple times. We probably do Europe in the spring. I just got back from a George Jones and Tammy Wynette tour where I was George Jones. I didn't want to be Tammy Wynette, so I was George. So we tour Ireland and Europe all the time. Me and my band, the Bloody Turnips, that's what I call them. And gosh, we're just on the road all the time. We did a big weekend this last weekend. AAJ, the Lawyers Conference, was in town, and we did the Hermitage Hotel, and we went to the Grand Ole Opry, and then we played Third and Lindsley this week. And man, it was a crammed week. It's been a blast.
Yeah, you're a busy man.
So lately I am. So go to VernFest.com and don't you forget those tickets. VernFest.
VernFest.com, y'all. Coming up right here in August. And is that something you rehearse for, or you just get out there and rock it?
Well, all these people, I'm glad you asked that, because all these people love country music. And when they get up there, they know these songs.
Uh-huh.
So when I say whatever in D, they just know it. It's like tell me your address, right? Yeah. It's that easy. So no, we don't rehearse. We just get up there, and some of the players actually played with Vern Gosdin, so that's really cool.
Just getting back on a horse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the friends that'll be there, is that a surprise? Do you announce that?
It is, and I can't. Last year we had Linda Davis. We had her in the studio here, if you remember, and we had Linda Davis and Lang Scott. We had Johnny Rodriguez, and we had all sorts of other celebrities. But I found out last year from doing it once, and I'm working on it, folks. I'm building a thing. So I found out that you can't really advertise people when you're not sure you're going to show up. So I don't want to do that to you. But we're trying to get my buddies over from the Opry, the ones that are in town, surprise guests and stuff. But we got some really great talent lined up.
Well, we can't wait to see who it is. I know it's going to be a good night. VernFest.com. And are you on social media so people can keep up with you as well?
Sure. Max T. Barnes on Facebook. VernFest is on Facebook. VernFest.com or Eventbrite. It's going to be August 3rd at the Troubadour Theatre at 8 o'clock. And we're going to have a big lineup, all country music all the time. It's going to be great. Bring the kids. I'll buy you a beer.
So it is kid-friendly?
Yes, it is.
Great. But the beer is for us. We love good beer. And the Troubadour has good pizza, too. So beer and pizza, country music, you can't beat it.
Fried crispy stuff. Everybody loves that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Max, for hanging out with us.